Hello everybody and welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be filming an updated version of my top 3 in every makeup category. It's already been a year since I filmed the first one. That feels like it went fast, right? It's not only me feeling a little bit freaked out right now, but it's okay. But I'm going to be keeping this intro pretty short because this video is going to be potentially long. So before we get into it, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Before we get started here, my shirt says peaches. It looked like it said aches for a second. But let's start off with underneath foundation things, aka primers or other things. So the first one here is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. This has got to be my #1 favorite primer just because it does it all for me. It mattifies my skin, it hydrates my skin, it blurs out the looks of my pores, it latches my makeup onto my skin all day. It truly just does it all and does the impossible under my makeup. And it's quite affordable, which is awesome. So this is my go-to for longevity purposes and blurring purposes. Next up, I wanted to mention the Auric Glow Lust. I like to use this as an underneath foundation highlighter, or I use it on top of my foundation as well if I feel inclined to do so. But it's a really fantastic one. It's very effective, and it has replaced my love for the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. I prefer this one's texture. It's a bit more balmy-like. It's a lot thicker in a good way, and the pearl inside here is a lot more fine than the Charlotte Tilbury one. And of course the Charlotte Tilbury one does break me out as well, which this one doesn't, thankfully. So this one has replaced that in my collection for sure. It's very beautiful. I use the shade Pyrite or Selenite. This is the shade Selenite, which is a lighter color. I got these the first launch round, so I know she kind of altered some of the shades. I don't know if it was this one, but this is the shade I use the most. I'll dig out Pyrite. This one I use if I want to give my skin a little bit more of a bronzed look, or if I'm really tanned. Right there. Oop. Oop. And the last primer I wanted to include in this video is actually the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Putty Primer. And you're probably wondering why the Milk Hydro Grip isn't in this category, although I love that one still. I don't use that one as much on the everyday. I use this far more than that one. I go to the Milk Hydro Grip when I want to grip my makeup on all day, or if I'm on a hotter vacation. I don't use it on the daily. Whereas this one I use quite a bit more in comparison. I really like how hydrating this one is. It also blurs out my skin a lot, and it also potentially helps me to battle off any acne, so why not love it? I just really like this one under makeup, especially for my oilier skin type. I like how it prevents anything from happening, and it also just locks on my makeup really nicely. So now let's move on to my 3 top favorite foundations as of right now. So the first one is my favorite for everyday, and you guessed it, it's the Rose Inc Skin Enhance Luminous Tinted Serum. This is beautiful. I get along with this product so well. I really like how blurring this product is, and it also is super long wearing for my oilier skin type, which is quite rare when it comes to tinted moisturizers. I love this amount of coverage it offers as well. It's very everyday appropriate, and it's very quick to apply. I went a little bit more in depth with this one in a recent video of mine. I compared 8 different foundations, so I'll link that one right here if you want to see me go into depth and try this one onto my skin. Yeah, I would highly recommend checking that out, but this is for sure my favorite everyday product. And another one that I use a lot is the Dior Forever Skin Glow. This is the foundation I'm wearing today on my skin. I really like how glowy this one is, but it's also quite full coverage, but it doesn't look full coverage once it's on. It's very thin wearing, but it's potent in coverage, and it also wears incredibly, incredibly well. This is my favorite for events. I feel like it photographs really well, films really nicely on camera, and it just is one I don't have to worry about. It's very reliable. And the last foundation I wanted to mention is, of course, the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I love this one for a dewier look. It's beautiful. It has a good amount of coverage to it as well. It has a medium to full amount of coverage, but you can alter it, of course, to get a light amount of coverage as well, and it just feels good for your skin. It does have a lot of skincare benefits, but it truly does just feel like a serum. It never feels heavy. Overall, I love this one, and it's been like a yearly fave. I don't know if that made sense entirely, but I like to go to this one at all times of the year. That's what I meant. Now let's get into concealers. Of course, I had to include the Lancome All Over Concealer. This has been a favorite of mine for months now. It's very diffusing under the eyes. I feel like it smooths out the entirety of my under eyes while keeping them feeling hydrated, but looking matte and very diffused. It's an incredible concealer. It also has a super thin consistency, but really potent coverage, which I love because it never looks heavy or cakey under there. Powders layer really nicely on top of it, and it wears really well throughout the entire day. And it also touches up really well if you need to touch up, but it's awesome. And it's also a really great one to spot correct with because it does have that velvety matte finish. So if you do have any raised spots or pimples or anything like that, and you apply this on top, it will stop the light from refracting off of it and bringing attention to the spot. If you use like a dewier concealer, it tends to exaggerate the look of them occasionally, but this one will help to mask the appearance of it. Another concealer I wanted to include is the Clé de Peau concealer. This has been a very revolutionary discovery for me. It's so beautiful. It reminds me of a stick version of this one right here actually, and the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer Pot, but just finer in the matte finish. Like, it feels very nice and powdery. I don't really have to set this one, and a little tiny bit of this goes such a long way. I also use it kind of as my foundation. Like, I can get away with using a little dot on each cheek and it will spread across my entire face. It's very diffusing and blurring as well. As you can tell, I like the blurring products. I feel like you're gonna hear that word a lot. But yeah, phenomenal through and through. It's very pricey, but for me, it's actually worth it. It brings me a lot of joy and it makes such a difference in my everyday routine. I love it. And the last one I wanted to mention is the NYX Bare With Me concealer. This was another immediate favorite to me. This one, when you apply it under your eyes, it just diffuses the whole thing. It smooths it out. It's really amazing going on, and it feels like it shouldn't look the way it does because it feels very dewy and serum-like, but it does a similar coverage job and look job as this one. Look job? I don't know. But it's dewy and more hydrating in comparison. It's very interesting, but it works really well. This is the concealer I am wearing under my eyes today. I have so far had the best experience with this concealer this far, and I need to grab a few more shades immediately. Now let's get into powders. I have kind of one in each category here. So of course I had to mention my Pat McGrath Blurring Under Eye Powder. I'm not going to be opening it today because my cat is in the phase of knocking whatever he pleases off the desk and he broke it. Maybe I'll open it a little bit, but see, it's not that broken, it's not shattered, it just has been removed from the pan. So I gotta treat this baby very nicely. But yeah, this is a really great blurring under eye powder. It works well with every concealer I've ever tried with. It is super flattering and it just prolongs the wear of my under eyes or my makeup. It's phenomenal. I've talked about it like in every single one of my videos for years now. And my favorite face powder is the Kosas Cloud Set. This one is also very diffusing and I like how it has a little bit of a tint to it. I also go to this powder to fix my makeup if I end up applying too much blush. I did do that today and I just added a filter of it and it just kind of brought it down the perfect amount. And then I did end up layering another blush on top of that because, you know, I feel like my makeup looks really fun and it needed a lot more pink on the cheeks. I also like this one because it does not cut all of the shine off your skin. It still looks like skin and it's very luminous looking. And this is one of my favorite powders to go to if I'm feeling like I'm looking very textured in the center of my face. Just adding a sheer layer of this just corrects that really nicely. And it does prolong the wear of my makeup really well as well. It's actually one of my favorite powders to go to for touch-ups during the day, which is quite rare for me. I used to always go to translucent powders to do touch-ups because in the past, whenever I would try a tinted powder like this, it would tend to add like a cakey layer as I would go on and on, touching up my makeup throughout the day, but that does not happen with this one. It's like a mistake eraser and it's just amazing. And the last powder I wanted to talk about is the Rare Beauty setting powder. This is in loose form. I find that it is quite comparable to like these two combined, I would say. It does have a little bit of a tint, but it's not as illuminating as the Kosas Cloud Set. It does kind of matte out my skin just a little bit more, but it doesn't cut all of the shine. This looks great under my eyes and everywhere on my face as well. And for a loose powder, it never ever looks cakey on my skin. It just layers really nicely and doesn't feel too dehydrating for my skin. It just sets my skin perfectly. And I also really like the packaging. It's kind of messy right now, but there is a little door you can shut so it doesn't get so messy. I should learn how to shut it though, because that would be a little bit better for me. But anyways, now let's move on to bronzers and contours. So this has been a recent discovery of mine, or rediscovery of mine. This is the Fenty Beauty Amber Cream Bronzer. I love this. I've used it every single day for a couple months now. I like to kind of chisel out my cheeks a little bit more these days. I don't know, it's really fun, it's very effective, and it has the perfect amount of pigmentation where it's a little bit sheer, but it truly does look like a shadow when it's on your skin. And I like how it does have that dewy appearance, so it never looks, I guess, like clockable, and it's very easy to use and blend out. I have been adoring my experience with it again. And for a cream bronzer, I wanted to mention the Rare Beauty Cream Bronzing Stick. I'm wearing this a little bit today as well. It's so nice to use. A little tiny bit of it goes a long way, and the finish is so nice. It blends out like a dream with such ease, and I really enjoy its finish because it kind of mattes out for a cream. Like, it looks like it has like a diffused matte look. It's really, really pretty. And it also is a very long wearing one since it does have that more matte finish. And the last bronzer I wanted to mention is the Glowish by Huda Beauty bronzer. This is the Soft Radiance one. It's phenomenal. I really like how it's in like a marble look. It's really enticing. But this one's amazing. It's super sheer, but it's also very effective at the same time. And when it's applied, since it's kind of see-through, it just truly looks like a natural bronze, and I really like how it mimics the look of skin. It has a really nice fine pearl in here that just reflects the light beautifully. Such a favorite of mine. Now let's talk highlighters. First one I want to talk about is the Melt Sex Foil highlighter. The shade I use is Stargazer. This is the highlighter I'm actually wearing on my skin today. This one's beautiful, and it took me by surprise as well because Melt's highlighters in the past have usually been pretty intense. This one is very effective, but I really love how it sinks right into the base of your makeup, and it just reflects the light beautifully in a really nice, natural, glossy looking way as well. But it does set down, like it doesn't feel like it's sticky or gloopy on the tops of your cheekbones, and my hair never gets stuck into them. This one's also very easy to use. Just a little tiny bit is very effective, and it blends in with a couple taps of your fingertips. I feel like it works really well with any type of tool, but I like using my finger the most. I feel like it is the most quick way to apply it, and it really sinks into everything. So here's the shade Stargazer swatched on my hand. It's very pretty. It has kind of a pinky nudie base close to my skin tone, but with a nice golden reflect. That's not like too gold, but like a nice champagne gold. It's gorgeous. Following that, I wanted to mention another liquid highlight. This one's from About Face. My favorite shade is Shaken or Stirred, and she does offer some really fun shades as well. This one's more my everyday vibe. It's a really pretty champagne gold one as well. And when you first put a little dot on the back of your hand, it looks very metallic, kind of like the old Cover FX ones that used to be quite glittery, but it's not. And it has a very interesting texture. It almost feels like a dry oil when you're blending it out, but it does a similar thing as the Melt Cosmetics one, where it just sinks right into your base. I just like this one because it's a little bit more intense, as you can see them side by side, but it still looks really flattering on the tops of your cheekbones. And neither of them have glitter. I just wanted to mention that real quick. I think I forgot the first time, but yeah, you can see super, super glossy and intense looking. It's beautiful. Now that I'm talking about them, they're quite similar in a few ways, like just how they really sink in and they look very natural, but they still are quite effective. They're awesome formulas. And I wanted to mention a powder one as well, and I'm actually mentioning the NARS one. Usually it would be the Ilia one, but I've been more partial to this one just because it's a little bit finer in pearl and in like opacity, I guess. It's not so full coverage as highlighters go, I guess. It's a bit more sheer. That's what I meant. But see, it's very pretty. It's very sheer when the light's not hitting it, and then it reflects the light so beautifully, like a little dream. This one, when it's applied, it kind of looks like a cream, which I love. It's such a fine, like finely milled formula that it never looks like a strip across your face. It's really nice. So now let's talk about blush. This one was hard for me, and there's actually 4 of them. I could not decide on 3. But the first one I wanted to talk about is, of course, the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blushes. I'm wearing a little bit of this shade right here, the shade Oh She's Different, and I also layered a little bit of, what is the shade in here? From the Holiday palette. He sells this in this form now, but I used the Cool Pink powder on top just to tie in the eyes. The little triangle over here. Beautiful. These are so fun to use. I have a couple shades now and I like to mix and match them. I feel like they blend together really nicely, and I love how you get the option of 2 formulas in one component. I think it's very handy. If you want more of like a sheer vibe or a matte vibe or a creamy vibe, you got it all. You can do it all, you can layer, have fun with it, and the colors are so beautiful. I mean, come on. This is Oh She's Different. I'll swatch the cream. There's that one. It's kind of like a berry. She's So LA was my original favorite, which really got me into the whole Poutretal line actually. I think this was the first thing I purchased and I was like, oh, hello. It's like a nice bronzy color. This one I don't use as often anymore, this more peachy leaning one. That's Do We Know Her, but it is pretty. Why don't I use it more? Hello? What's wrong with me? Oh gosh, am I gonna swatch all of these? I wasn't planning on doing this, but now I'm having fun. I'm like embarrassed to show you my swatch job now. Okay. And there's the palette, these 3 here. Oh god. Hopefully that helped. We've got a very predictable one coming up next. This is the Rose Inc Foxglove blush. This one is still my favorite color, the only one that exists in my eyes. I do like the other ones I have, don't get me wrong, but this one by far is my favorite color that they offer so far. I love this one's texture because it feels kind of whipped when you're applying it, and it diffuses out really nicely, but it's super long wearing for a cream blush. This is the color on the back of my hand, so it's kind of like that rusty, I don't know, it's like one of those colors that can pull differently depending on the tones you're wearing with it. Right now it's kind of pulling the more peach shades, but it also can look really rusty or red like a brick, or it can look kind of orangey. It's really interesting, and I love transformative blushes like this. And you can also use this one on your lips for a cute monochromatic moment, and it goes on top of your lips really nicely. It doesn't have that weird ashy thing, or it doesn't look milky in color when you apply it to your lips, which I find that a lot of blushes or 2-in-1 blushes can be, but it doesn't look like that at all. I feel like I haven't mentioned that on my channel in a little bit. I've been good. I have a powder option right here. These are the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blushes. Now I just am holding 2 of them. These are both from the Masterpiece collection. Love them both, but Baroque is for sure my favorite. I think about using this pretty much every day since it's arrived to my collection. It's a really nudie shade. It looks very nude on my hand now that I've swatched it, but it's very pretty. A nude close to my skin tone, of course. And the other one, Rococo, is really cute too. It's kind of a more bronzed up version of that. They're really fun mixed too. They also have quite a few other colors like Faded Clementine and Magic Hour. There's a few other as well that I love so much, but these have been highly worn recently, and I really love this formula because it goes on very thinly, but it applies a lot of pigmentation. As you can see here, when I swatched it, it kind of turned a different color. It kind of like adapts to your skin tone, I feel like. It's really interesting, and I love the finish of them because it does have this really nice glowy effect to it because it has a tiny pearl running throughout the whole thing, and it's nothing like glittery looking or anything. It just looks like a cream, but it has the benefits of a powder. Like, you know it's going to last all day. They're beautiful. Highly recommend that formula from M Cosmetics. I think as the years have gone on, I think those are for sure my favorite formula. I keep going back to them always. I have a special place in my heart for the serum blushes as well as the multi-sticks, but those extra special. And finally, the 4th one that I could not go without mentioning for some reason are the Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint Blush Sticks. I have been loving these so much. These are the 3 shades I have been using the most. I'm gonna be doing a better job at swatching this time. I'm not gonna run it all through my arms again. So my favorite shades have been Perky Peach, cute, Coral Cutie, very cute. But my favorite is this one, Rebel Red. Hello? Beautiful. I also like to mix these 2 together a little bit. Now that I'm seeing that, it looks quite close to Foxglove. Hold on, now I'm having another swatch party. Don't mind me. Yep, that's why I love it so much. It like recreates the perfect Foxglove color. Interesting. But this is a really awesome blush stick formula. I have kind of fallen out of love with them in recent years, but this one's really nice. It doesn't feel so waxy or heavy feeling, nor does it feel very tacky or sticky. It just kind of feels like nothing. It doesn't feel like anything once it's on your cheeks. And these do also have a little pearl in them as well, but it's not glittery, nor does it look too sparse once these are on your cheeks. They're stunning, but I had to mention a bonus blush. It wouldn't be one of my videos without too many blushes, you know? So now let's move on to brow products. And thankfully enough, this was kind of an easier section for me to pick. So my favorite brow pencil is the Kosas Brow Pop. It's fantastic. I love the pink packaging. I think that's a big part of why I use this so much and fell in love with it in the beginning. But I also love the shape of the pencil. I never was a fan of these triangle tips, but this one is so nice and tiny that you're able to get a precise application, and you can use it in a couple different angles. Thankfully, when you use this one, it doesn't like round out like a lot of other triangles do. This one tends to keep its angles really well. You can achieve little fine hair-like strokes like this. You can flip it on its side to do a big fill job like this, or you can flip it on its other side to get a nice thin, precise line. And I also really enjoy this one's formula and finish because it kind of goes into your brows like a waxy powder look, which is awesome because it never looks dewy in your brows, and it really adheres to the skin underneath of your brows where you want it to look more full. It's a really great one, and of course it comes with a spoolie, which is always my favorite thing that a brow pencil can have. It's just the most handy. And my favorite brow gel as of late has been the Kosas Air Brow. I have been in a huge phase with this one. It's really nice and just easy for every day. It coats the hairs really nicely, it gives them a nice little lift, and overall just gives a lot more volume and bush to my brows. I do have very thin, fine brows, so this gives me the volume that I want in my brows. It's awesome. And I really like this one's finish as well because it does look kind of shiny. Maybe in the close-up or the product shot, you'll be able to see the little fine pearl in here. And that's awesome because it really mimics the actual look of hair, and it doesn't look too matte or weird. It just truly looks like you have nice brow genetics. Like my brother. Why couldn't I get that? And then finally, my favorite clear brow gel is the e.l.f. Brow Lift. This is incredible. It truly lifts up the brows. It's like a push-up bra for your brows. It truly is. And you only need a tiny little amount of this, and it really does a great job at just giving that slick look or the bushy look, depending on what you like, but it does keep them up all day and locked in. I've tried quite a few brow gels like this that say that they're going to give you that laminated look, but they don't really do that, but this one is actually truth. Now let's get into eye products. Let's start off with eyeshadow palettes. So my favorite warmer neutral palette is the Patrick Ta 4 Eyes Major Dimension eyeshadow palette, the original, the first one, the bronzy one. I really love the colors in here. These ones really bring out the tones of my eyes, and I feel like they're the most flattering for my skin tone as well. And I also adore the addition of these two creams here. I feel like it just adds more versatility to this. I can use these as eyeliners or bases to really enhance the look of these or the shimmers, or I can just use them on their own as well. They're amazing creams. And I also love how the shimmers in here aren't like traditional super metallic ones. I feel like I say the same thing every time I talk about this palette. I don't know what else to say. They're more like sheer toppers, and they're really beautiful. They just look like diamonds in the sunlight. This lightest one is my favorite. Oh, it's so pretty. But I go to this palette quite a bit. I like how it has these rustier colors as well. I don't know, this one just does it for me. Another neutral palette I love, I would consider this one quite neutral in tone. It's this one from the Masterpiece collection from M Cosmetics. Once again, this is what I'm kind of wearing all over my lid. I'm wearing this little shade everywhere, and then I did a bunch of little fun designs and added a green shimmer on top. But it's a perfect kind of transition color or an all over color for a base like this. But the M Cosmetics eyeshadow formula is beautiful. It has like a really diffused property to them that not a lot of other shadows have, because when you apply it, it almost feels like it's mixed with like a translucent blurring powder. It's really, really awesome to work with, very user-friendly. You'll always get a very nice, soft look. Also, I love the size of the M Cosmetics palettes because you're able to just throw them into your makeup bag and you're good. I like how I have like a nice full look in here. I get a good amount of definition and depth if I want to with this darker brown. And the shimmers in here are really nice. You have more of a classic sheen, or you have like this nice topper and you get an inner corner highlight. It's just an all-in-one quick, easy little palette, and I love it. And the last one I wanted to mention is the Rose Quartz from Huda Beauty. This one, I open this up a couple times a week because it's so beautiful to look at. I love how this is a fun rendition of a cooler toned palette and has these really pretty pinks and these amazing, amazing duochromes that are so fun to use. I usually dig my fingers into them every time I talk about this palette, but I'm going to run out of those colors shortly. I have some pretty major dips in some of them. Here, I'll just swatch this one. I don't have that big of a dip in this one. This one has a nice green teal shift. They're just so beautiful and effective. And I really like the formula of this eyeshadow palette. I feel like they're quite creamy and they layer on top of one another really nicely. I don't know what else to say. It's just beautiful. This shade over here is also really fun. It feels super creamy. It's the shade Energized. It's a really nice kind of warmish silver. You know, there's like a little bit of something different to it, kind of taupey. What? Like if you're familiar with the M Cosmetics dewy eyeshadows, it feels just like that in this eyeshadow palette. Really fun. It's just one of those palettes that I just get immediately inspired by every time I look at it. I know everyone gets inspired by different color stories and things like that, but this one just really does that for me and I love it. It's so stunning. So last time around I did my one and done favorites. I'm actually switching it up and I'm just doing like my favorite single shadow favorites. So just like I mentioned or hinted at, the M Cosmetics Cosmic Pearl Dewy Eyeshadows had to be in here. These are my two favorite shades, Moonrise and Wish. Wish is a bit warmer and this one's kind of like a neutral, kind of cooler toned pinky leaning color. Here, I'll swatch them both. They're super creamy. They have like that fun, almost whipped texture. It doesn't feel like ColourPop's Super Shock shadows. They feel like wet almost, but they just, like the tiniest amount, just I could cover my whole hand with the amount I took. Gorgeous. Again, that was Moonrise. So there's the undertone of it and there's the shift. How fun. Wish is my more worn one, but out of the entire range, these are my two faves. This one's a bit more bronzy, a little bit more gold. Oh, that reflect. Oh my goodness. I could be a lighthouse to a boat right now. Whenever I have a look on and I'm like, it's missing a little bit of something fun, I always reach to these ones because it just gives the perfect amount of oomph to your look and it makes it a little bit more unique and eye-catching. Really gorgeous formula. For how dewy they feel, they don't crease surprisingly, and I would tell you that because I have the oiliest lids I feel like in the entire world and it doesn't budge on me at all. It's awesome. And in this section I had to talk about the About Face Fluid Eye Paints. I love these. This has been one of my favorite additions to my collection this year. They're so fun to work with because I can use them as eyeliners or as all over eyeshadows. I get super creative with these ones. I feel like today I kind of was sketching on my eyeballs and it was really fun to do. Let me know if you'd like to see me recreate this look in a tutorial or shop my stash or something. But I freaking love this kind of style where you just doodle on your eyelids. It was really fun. About Face recently came out with a bunch of new colors and I hope that they continue to do so because I feel like I need every single color and hue of everything in the world. They're really fun to work with. I would say a standout color for me is the red one. If you are looking for a red eyeshadow, look no further. That one is the one to get because it is very matte, it's very pigmented, but it doesn't feel crispy or crumbly on your eyes at all. And that's pretty rare for red pigments out in the eye world. Just like in eye products. Usually they are really hard to work with or they're not pigmented enough or they're not red enough, but that one is true red. I don't know why I didn't pick it out to show you guys for this video, but there it is. We can use it as eyeliner or anything you want to do with it. It's awesome. And the last product in this little category, I had to mention the About Face Loose Glitters. These were the first things to really entice me in the About Face brand. These are fun because they're kind of like hydrated loose pigments and the colors they have are so fun. They have amazing shifts. but I really like how clean these are to use. Like when you're applying it onto your eyes, it does not like flake everywhere or just poof, or when you're opening up the cap, it doesn't explode everywhere and you don't waste a ton of product. First of all, they have like this really nice sifter in here that keeps it kind of cleaner. I always just tap some into the cap, and it kind of looks like it's a little bit damp because it kind of crumbles up, not like a super dry powder, and it just adheres to any base really nicely. It adheres really nicely onto the fluid eye paints or just classic powder eyeshadows or just your bare lid. Incredible. My favorite shade is Saint Ceremony. That's the one I just swatched right here. I also adore the shade Out of Body. I'll just give them a quick swatcheroo. Out of Body is a nice golden color. This one's a bit more glittery for sure. This one's kind of a more smooth pigment, whereas Out of Body, it's a bit more of a loose glitter, but it has like a nice pinky, yellowy green shift. But it overall just looks like a nice champagne-y gold. And my last favorite color is this Sage Room, which is a purpley shifting one with like violet glitters in it. Very beautiful, very fun to work with. It just brings extra interest to any eye look, or you can use them all over your face, whatever you do, but I like to use them on my eyes the most. So now let's talk about my favorite eyeliners. So first things first is of course the Melt Cosmetics Ultra Matte Gel Liners. I really like the matte formula a bit more than the metallic ones, just because I think matte is more versatile, but they have, as you can see, really, really fun colors. This one's from the Beetlejuice collection. I don't think you can get a hold of it anymore, which is really too bad because it's a really good like neon acid green color. And this pink one launched their last collection, the one with the butterflies. It's slipping my mind for some reason, but look how neon that is. They have a ton of colors in these, and they continue to bring out more with every collection they do, and I would suggest that this is one of the best things you can invest in from Melt Cosmetics because they're so versatile. You can of course sculpt a really nice eyeliner, really nice sharp one, or you can use them in the waterline, or you can use them as a single all over eyeshadow. You can virtually do anything with them. They're very creamy. They're like surprisingly creamy and wet when you first get them. You're like, how is this ever going to dry down and how's this gonna go? But it does eventually dry down super, super matte, which is incredible. I would say the most versatile one, or the one I would recommend the most, is Onyx, which is just the black. But I mean, they have so many fun colors to choose from. They're fantastic, and I've been raving about them for a couple years now. Ever since they first launched them in the Day of the Dead collection, I believe. I think that's when they first came out with them. I also am quite in love with their newer waterline pencils. I don't just use them in my waterline, but they do stay put really, really well there. And they feel very thin, but they are quite pigmented and opaque for there. It's really cool. They just kind of stay put and lock down on there. And they're very smudgeable. These have been slowly replacing my love for the Makeup by Mario pencils, which is kind of crazy for me to say. I would never have guessed that those would be slowly phased out of the #1 spot. But Cocoa is such a nice brown, and it is so creamy. It's kind of crazy. It looks kind of dewy when you first swatch it, but like, look how stretchable and blendable this is. This one would be great for smokier eyes as well. Very versatile. You can use this all over your lid very easily as a base, or you could probably get away with just using it as your all over shadow. I can just sculpt anything with this eyeliner. It's awesome. Cut creases, sharp eyeliners, whatever it may be, I can do it with that. And my last favorites are of course the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Smoky Eyeliners. I hope they bring out like the funner shades they used to have, or they might still have them in like the original Tattoo Studio ones, not the smoky versions. Oh my god, my leg is so asleep. I don't feel like I have a leg. Hold on. I don't know where I was in explaining these, but these actually, now that I'm thinking of it, kind of remind me of the Melt Makeup Slick Waterline Eye Pencils, because they have that blendability and like they stretch quite a bit, and it's nice because you do get a black in this line. Do they have a black in this? I don't recall all of a sudden, but they are both very easy to use and they last very well on your waterline or anywhere you apply them. They have great blendability to them as well, as you can see, and as you would expect for a smoky eyeliner. They're just awesome. I've spoken about these quite a bit on my channel. Now let's talk about mascaras. So I first wanted to talk about the Glossier Lash Slick. I'm in another big phase with this one. This is my favorite lower lash mascara. It's very, very long wearing. It never smudges or flakes. It just stays put, and I really like how buildable it is as well. I tend to apply kind of like a tinted look to the entire thing, and then I add 2 to 3 layers on the outer corners just to bring out my eyes a little bit further out, and it's really nice to control. You also get this nice pointier wand which aids in grabbing all the lashes you've got down there. It's also pretty on the top lashes, but it's more of a natural looking mascara as you would expect a Glossier product to be. It just kind of tints and lengthens them, but you can build it up, but you really have to work at it. But I mostly use this for my lower lash line. One of my recent favorite mascaras has been the MAC Stack. I prefer the larger wand compared to the micro one, just because it gets the job a lot quicker. But this is a really fun mascara because it just builds and builds and builds and builds, and it never looks clumpy or spidery. It just offers so much volume. You can achieve pretty much any mascara look you want with it, and very quickly at that. It's also very, very dark and black, which is nice. It adds a lot of contrast to your eye looks, and it wears really well, and it holds that look all day. It's fantastic. And for how much you can build it up, it surprisingly feels quite lightweight on the lashes. And my last favorite mascara is of course the Rare Beauty one. I know I get a lot of questions comparing the two. I would say that they're quite comparable in a lot of ways, but this one you can't build up as much, but still you get a really nice quick effect with the Rare Beauty mascara. This one also feels ultra lightweight in the lashes because it is kind of a curl holding mascara. This mascara does everything I want a mascara to do for my lashes. It's great. I can't say enough good things about this one. I have already purchased a couple backups because I don't think my collection will be whole without it, to be honest. I have an emotional connection to their mascara. So now let's move on to the last category, which is lips. Let's start off with lip liners. My #1 favorite lip liners as of now is the Melt Perfectionist Lip Ultra Precision Pencils. I feel like some of my favorite lip combos always include one of these guys. So my favorite colors are Bare. This is my #1 go-to. It just kind of is a nice neutrally brown contour color for my lip color. It's gorgeous, and it pairs really well with pretty much any lipstick I go in with. Another one of my big favorites is Cashmere, which is a bit deeper than Bare. Really pretty. Cinnamon is another one of my favorites. It's kind of more of a red brick brown color, but it's still soft. And of course the red one. It's a beautiful, beautiful red pencil. And whenever I'm wearing red lipstick, I like to line my lips up first because I really need that perfect, precise lip line, or else it looks like a mess. But these are fantastic. I love how they're in a classic wood pencil. They do have kind of like a drier formula. They kind of build up really nicely, so you're able to get kind of a soft, blurred look, or you can get a super precise look if you want as well. I really like how I can adjust the look of my lip line with these very easily. My second favorite lip liners are of course the MAC lip liners. These are such a classic, and I will forever have these in my collection. I'll mention a couple of my favorite colors as well. The one I'm wearing on the perimeter of my lips today is Oak, which now looking at them is very similar to Bare from Melt. This one is my most used one. As you can see, I'm getting pretty close to the butt of the pencil. I also am a huge fan of Strip Down, who isn't though, which also looks very similar to Cashmere from Melt. Wow, making discoveries as we go. Subculture, which is a nice pinky one. I like to layer this one with pinky nudie colors. Cork, which is kind of a cool toned one. I actually contour my lips with this one. It has been my replacement for the Makeup Forever Anywhere, no, not Anywhere Caffeine. Anywhere Cacao? Whenever Cacao? Endless Cacao. That one looked really yellow and weird on my lips, but this one truly looks like a nice little shadow. Gorgeous, again in wood pencils. Now that I'm thinking about it, these are quite similar. Really similar in formula. They build up really nicely, so you're able to get that soft look or really nice, harsh, precise lip look. And my last favorite lip liner is the Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine. This one suits pretty much all of the lipsticks I go in with. It's like my universal one if I don't know what to go in with. Right here. Very pretty. And this one, I love its texture. It almost feels like a powder going on, but it feels really nice and creamy, and it is very long wearing. And these are also fun because they're multi-purpose pencils, so you can use them on your eyes or wherever you want to line up. We've got 3 more categories to go, so let's start off with lipsticks. I have been really in love with lipsticks that look kind of powdery and matte. So my first favorites are these Florasis porcelain lipsticks. These are beautiful through and through in formula and in packaging as well. They feel very heavy and luxurious because they are actually in porcelain. Hear that sound? So satisfying. And these are stunning because they have the most beautiful etching on them. There's like a whole story when you look at them up close. There's like actual people with faces on them. They're so tiny, I don't know how they do it. It's so detailed, it's ridiculous. But my favorite shades are M304 and M303. They're quite similar. One's just a bit more red and more vibrant, and the other one's a bit more peachy leaning. This one is 303, and M304 is right there. It's a little bit more red and vibrant, you see that? Really pretty. They look so flattering on the lips. They blur everything out, and they feel really nice and luxurious. They feel very powdery and slippy and nice. They're just awesome. And then a similar formula is the ones from MAC. These are the Powder Kiss lipsticks. My 3 current favorite shades are Stay Curious. This has been a favorite of mine for almost a year straight. It's so pretty. It's actually quite similar to the previous ones. Devoted to Chili, which is a little bit more of a orange rusty undertoned color. Still very pretty. Same color story once again. This kind of color has been the color of the year for me. And my last favorite is Teddy 2.0, which is my perfect nude shade. I'm wearing it underneath a gloss today. Really pretty. I have a couple of these. I have one in every one of my purses. I have one in my car. Love it. What can I say? And another similar formula is the Merit Signature Lips. These ones do have a little bit more shine though. My favorite color in these is Baby. I thought I was going to like the brownie one, but I don't like it as much as Baby. Baby is like a different color that I wouldn't expect me to like because it's a bit more mauvey in undertone, but it does look really pretty, and it pulls differently with anything you're wearing as well, and with different lip liners too, of course, but it's really gorgeous. Very everyday appropriate. I like how it has that slight sheen, but overall feels kind of silky on the lips. They're also quite buildable. Like you can apply a very sheer tinted layer, or you can go all out with them as well. So I love its variety. So now let's move on to glosses. So my first favorite gloss is the Kosas Clear Gloss. This is my favorite clear gloss. This is perfect for every day. It feels just like a lip oil. It's not going to feel gloopy, or it's not going to create those strings. It's just going to be awesome for you. And the packaging is just so freaking cute. Looks like a little ocean wave or something, but I love this one. I've gone through tubes and tubes and tubes of this. It's phenomenal. Another one of my favorite glosses is the Dior Rosewood Lip Glow Oil. I have rediscovered this one again this year after all of the TikTok videos, of course, but this used to be one of my favorites a couple years back, but it's now a favorite of mine again. It's so beautiful. I think the tinted ones are a bit more worth it in my opinion because of course it does a little something else than just like a classic clear gloss. This color is really pretty, and one of my favorite combos is actually pairing this with Anywhere Caffeine or Melt Cinnamon. It kind of brings out that more rusty color from the rosewood. You see that? Very pretty. And my last favorite gloss is actually a newer one. This is the Laura Mercier Lip Glacé in the shade Rosé. 125. I'm gonna add a little bit more right now. It's very light, and usually I hate light lip products. Like anything that looks like concealer lips, I don't want. But this one's so pretty for some reason, and I've been loving my experience with it. It's very comfortable as well. It's not sticky, but it does feel a little bit more like a classic gloss, but no stick. I just have been obsessed with this color, and I don't say obsessed often, but I have been. I think about this a lot. I have a little bit of an extra lip combo on today. I was wearing, oh no, what lip liner did I say I was wearing? Oh yeah, Oak, this, and MAC Teddy 2.0. And let's move on to my last category. This is one that I added this time around, which is like tinted lip products or like tinted balms. I felt like I needed that because these are very trendy lately. My first favorite is the Dear Dahlia ones. I think the entire range is very beautiful, but a few of my favorites have been Gemma, cute soft peach, Julia, not because of the name, actually because of the color, but the name is a bonus. It's like a nice, vibrant, peachy coral. And my last favorite, which is kind of like a soft pink, is Lauren. See that? It's kind of like more of a, almost like a brownie neutral pink. Very pretty. Love these though, because they offer a lot of hydration and they feel very comfortable and lightweight. They're very undetectable feeling, but they also have quite punchy colors for tinted lip balms. And my second favorite is this really unique one. I've talked about this for like a year straight. These are the NARS Soft Matte Tinted Lip Balms. My favorite shades are Intimate and Brief Encounter. These are so cool. They still blow my mind even though I've used them so much. They're truly like a matte tinted lip balm. They feel hydrating, but they look matte. I don't get the science in that, but I'm very grateful for it. So here's Intimate, the lighter one, and Brief Encounter. Brief Encounter is my favorite for the fall. This has been kind of my go-to out of the two right now. And my last favorite is the Makeup by Mario Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum. I prefer the shade Bronze Glow. I haven't really felt attached to any of the other colors. This one is just such a me color. It just looks like foxglove. It looks like the lipstick colors I've been really drawn to. It's so pretty and it has such a glossy finish for a tinted lip balm. It's even glossier than the M Cosmetics lip cushions, which is crazy, and it doesn't feel sticky or gloopy like you would expect. And it doesn't like hurt your lips. When it's a plumping serum, I always think it's going to be painful. I'm still scarred from the Nabla lip plumper. That was so scary. But that does not happen with this. It's more of like a cooling sensation. It feels like menthol on your lips. You know that feeling? It's very specific, but beautiful. What a stunning formula. I hope he continues to launch some more shades. I mean, I think it would be really smart business-wise because those have gone viral on TikTok. Someone talked about them and they all went away. But there we have it, and perfect timing as well because my camera is flashing at me. It's about to die. But that's going to be all for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the updated video. If you did, please give this video a like. It would help me out so very much. I'll make sure to link everything I talked about in the description down below as always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.